Hello everyone, it's David again from the Wellness Recovery Network. You've probably guessed by now that I enjoy poetry. You might not normally associate mindfulness with poetry, but that's something I'd like to talk about with you today. Just to set the scene, my wife Pauline and myself belong to another brilliant group of people who have been meeting up in Newtownards now for several years. Everyone in the group has got physical health problems, and we meet together to have a chat, a bite, a cup of coffee, encourage one another, and to engage in craft projects. I must admit that I've learned a lot of crafts that I would not have ever thought of through the Big Friendly Group. That's what it's called, the Big Friendly Group, the BFG. Anyway, just before this COVID-19 lockdown, the BFG, in collaboration with the National Museums Northern Ireland, were involved in a sound-based project that was to last 6 weeks. Unfortunately, I think it was after week 3, the situation with COVID-19 got so bad that the government at that time said you can only meet in groups of 5 or less. Well, that put paid to our big group with the museum. Hopefully it's something that we'll be able to pick up or even reschedule later in the year. It'll depend, of course, on the NMNI. However, early on in this project, we were introduced to a form of poetry which I knew absolutely nothing about. It was a classical Japanese form of poetry called the haiku. H-A-I-K-U. Haiku. Traditionally, in Japanese, haikus are just written as one single line. But in English, they're presented as a 3-line poem of 17 syllables. 5 syllables in the first line, 7 in the second, 5 in the last. They usually focus on the seasons or on nature. Just to say again that it's syllables, not words. For example, in English, the word wonderful is one word, but of course 3 syllables, wonderful. So for someone like me who's used to writing rather long poems, I found it very difficult when we were asked to try and write some of our own haikus. Other members of the Big Friendly Group were brilliant at it, credit where credit's due. But it's something that I'm looking forward to exploring for myself in the future. Because you only have 17 syllables, it really does help you to concentrate the mind. In fact, in the book The Heart of Haiku, author Jane Hirschfield explains that the Japanese masters of classical haiku, and some of these date from the 1600s, it's a very old form of poetry. They followed the Zen Buddhist teaching in Japan. What they said, as she said in her book, they encouraged the poet to see for themselves, hear for themselves, and through the hearing and seeing to express all things. It's not enough just to see a blade of grass. You must study the blade of grass. You must become the blade of grass. I've no idea how you would do that. But you start to see the similarity between this and mindfulness. The idea is to be in the present moment, to use all of the senses and record the event or the part of nature that you want to record. Here's some classical haiku examples from well-known Japanese haiku masters. Now, in each of these, what they're doing is painting a vivid word picture, a little film, as it were, in 17 syllables. And as I read these, hopefully that you'll also be able to picture the event in your mind and see it happening. So here goes. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash. Silence again. I'm sure you could picture that little frog, couldn't you? Here's another one. On a frozen twig, the little bird dreams of spring. Oh, to see the sun. And here's the last one. Now, as I read this, you're going to say, hold on a minute, David, that's not 575. It's not. But the reason for that is it was in Japanese. This is an English translation. In the moonlight, the scent and the colour of the wisteria seems far away. Well, there are some examples of haikus. Haiku. If you're interested in it, it's worth doing a little bit of research. Maybe looking up some examples on a search engine. So just in summary, use 17 syllables to give a short summation of a moment. What you saw, heard, touched, tasted, or smelled. Turn that moment into an image. Don't tell us what happened, show us. Don't tell us how you felt. Trust the images, the sense perception to hold the emotion. A good haiku will convey a mood without mentioning a person or the mood. Engage all of the senses in the present moment. Be mindful. Every place, every moment in time is full of poetry. All we have to do is open up ourselves to it and allow it to express itself. Poetry is always possible. Haiku. Haiku. Over the next few days, I'll be sharing with you some of my own poems again. They're a lot longer than 17 syllables. But maybe haiku is something that you would like to explore for yourself, along with that idea of mindfulness through poetry. Have a good day now, and everyone, please stay safe. Bye now.